Part 6. Heaven and Hell. Paths to Infinity. Conversation with Lucifer. ELENA, SIDELNIKOVA. When reading channeled information, remember no external information is 100% reliable. Listen first and foremost to yourself. All information resides within each of us. Tell me about the perceptions of you that exist among us. What are heaven and hell? They are forms of perceiving or creating the world. What are heaven and hell in your understanding? Hell is a place where the souls of the deceased go if they have sinned. There they receive punishment. Heaven, on the other hand, is where souls who lived righteously go. We've already discussed what sin is. It's the irrational use of divine energy irrational, in the sense that it doesn't contribute to movement and change. Try to step away, at least temporarily, from ethical constructs and think in terms of energy processes. So, if a person uses divine energy irrationally, what happens? You are islands of divine energy. To create a system of input and output valves, you have a chakra system. Each chakra regulates the pressure of the energy processes occurring in your island of perception. But the majority of your energy simply circulates within you. It cannot disappear. It can only change its characteristics due to external or internal influences. If you spend it on transforming your reality, it continues to exist in the form of that reality. Where did the concept of hell come from? From human perceptions of it. What is punishment? Everything is a reflection of divine light, and as a reflection, it cannot be right or wrong. It simply is. Which colour in a rainbow is right and which is wrong? All are countless refractions contemplated by God. And, as you've already realised, He has no preferences. Each newly created refraction is wondrous in its diversity. So why would God punish anyone? And for what, if everything is His reflection? This means all existing reflections are equal or equally interesting and acceptable since they are Him. Punishment doesn't exist, or it exists only in your minds. Look, a child does something his parents don't like, and they tell him, "This is bad." They, in turn, were taught this by their parents, and so on. Gradually, a person forms concepts of good and bad. In the same way, you form the concepts of hell and heaven. So you're saying that neither hell nor heaven exists? Everyone creates the world they believe in. Angels and teachers alike. Everyone creates within themselves. Everything is similar, and each describes their own world to you. And you, I am a part of you, and you are a part of me. If a soul goes to the world it has created, with its beliefs after death, how long does it stay there? You'll be surprised, but for as long as it chooses, until it decides it has had enough of that experience. For example, that it has atoned for its sins in hell, or that it has grown bored in heaven, or that it wants to return to the dense world. If we follow this concept, can a soul return to the dense world not as a baby? Why do we come into the dense world this way? Why do you think it's the only way? There are many worlds of varying density, and many can be entered simply through the power of thought. Why do all people on our planet come through birth? Not all. But most do because they chose it. They chose to go through all this to be a child, a teenager, an adult and an elder. They chose to be old? Yes. Why does this surprise you? Some of you didn't choose old age, but chose to leave this world in other ways, through unnatural death, illness, catastrophe, murder, suicide, and so on. Are you saying that suicides chose their death in advance? You determine the key points of your journey. Death or transition to another density is one such point. So all suicides chose that kind of death in advance? Not all, but most. Why? It's better to ask them. Everything is experience. But we have a belief that the souls of suicides go to hell or some other terrible place after death. If they fear going to hell, they will. You create all the terrible worlds yourselves. There are many works describing heaven and hell. Dante, Daniil Andreev, church teachings. Are you saying these are all fantasies? Yes, or imposed perceptions. They are similar. For example, Dante's descriptions are very similar to the church teachings of his time. As for Daniil Andreev, it's a very interesting form of light refraction. You see, the refraction of divine light happens constantly. And after physical death, the soul in the subtle worlds also constantly refracts light and perceives these worlds through its own prism of perception. Daniil Andreev simply remembered and described his post-death experience. So he created all those levels he describes exactly. And anyone can reach those levels if they believe in them and choose to. But if I choose an already created world, am I still creating? Yes, because the world you create will still differ from the one you choose. You are a prism of reflection. In this case, you're creating by reflecting already reflected and structured light. Then what is the expulsion from paradise and the tree of knowledge and the serpent who tempted? Let's understand knowledge. What does it mean to know? It means to know after something already exists. You can know that you are a creator of realities, but you can only know this reality after creating it. Knowledge is the process of perceiving the realities you've created. But what is perception? It's a reflection. So knowing the reality you've created is also your reflection. Each time you know something, you change it, meaning you reflect it. It's like a hall of mirrors. If that's the case, I understand why the universe is infinite. If every entity constantly reflects already created realities in new ways and creates, imagines new ones, then there can be no boundaries. Boundaries are an illusion. The only boundary is the part of you where you touch God. Heaven and hell exist in your imagination, and you can only expel yourself from them. According to legend, until Adam and Eve gained knowledge by eating from the tree of knowledge, they lived in paradise. But after tasting it, they realized they were naked, and God expelled them for disobedience. Of course, this is an allegory. Adam and Eve gained the right to choose. They learned that everything depends on their choice and chose to leave the place called paradise. But they forgot the way back. And now they are searching for the path to return. Then who is the devil? Does he exist? Everything exists in which you believe. People have so strongly believed in the existence of the devil that he has gained existence as a reflection of the reflection of divine light in those who believe in him. If I don't believe in you, do you not exist? Yes, in your reality, I won't exist and won't speak with you if you believe I don't exist. You don't believe in the devil, so in your reality, he doesn't exist. Where did concepts like the devil and Satan come from? It's hard for humans to believe that the source of their troubles is themselves. And considering your centuries of religious upbringing, for some of you, the devil is a very real phenomenon. There is nothing around you but God, and everything that exists in your life is a magnificently created scenario for you, with various actors and extras. They all appear in your life by your call and your choice. The process of creation is so intricate that sometimes some of you manage to create phantasmagoric pictures. They create the image of the devil, worship him, and offer him sacrifices. But there was a time when sacrifices were made to gods. You choose idols on whom you place the responsibility for your decisions and creations. Why are you considered the source of all human suffering? Because to some extent, I am indeed the source of your suffering, because I began the separation from God and showed you the path to creating and being free in your choice of creation. And each has used this opportunity in their own way. Do you think the experiment was successful? There are no unsuccessful experiments. An experiment can only be unsuccessful if you expect a certain result and it doesn't happen. In this case, the result was unpredictable. Do you like the result? These are human concepts. How can red be more likable than green? Do you like that there is sky, water, earth, and fire? That there is morning and evening, day and night? It simply is. Do you like the reflection of trees in water more than the trees themselves? It's a meaningless question. But this experiment has brought so much evil, wars, violence, murder, and more. Evil is simply a choice of path. Why don't you say this experiment has brought much good? Haven't there been beautiful moments in human history? The experiment is an opportunity for independent creation for each part of God. Many of your creations are wondrous and beautiful. Are you proud of your creation? I don't make judgments or distinctions, but I see the peaks of your refractions and your creative potentials. They are all within me, and I understand that the experiment has brought development. It has given you freedom. It has opened paths to infinity. Where are you now? I am everywhere, for all of you and I are one. But now, I am unfolding my creations in other universes. Has the experiment ended? No, it continues. It is infinite. But now you are emerging from childhood, and I can step away, so to speak. I can direct the majority of my creative potentials toward new creations and new experiments. Like your filmmakers starting a new project, so do I a new project, a new experiment. What will happen to us next? Whatever you choose, and I fully trust your choice. If creation is only possible through the power of love, does that mean you created us and our world through the power of love? Do you love humans? More than they can imagine, but humanity as a whole doesn't feel positive emotions toward you. Everything changes. Do you expect gratitude? I await the moment when you realize your power and become my equal partners in the creation of the world we've built together.